Hello my dear students, once again I welcome you all to your history online class. So again in today's online class we will be doing the continuation part of your 7th chapter from your history portion, that is known as South India and the rise of Cholas. So if you have seen the first part of the video, there I have explained you, or there I have taught you regarding what were the main two types of sources under the literary or the archaeological sources and the contribution that was laid during the time of Chola Empire. So let's start the class. So in today's class we'll focus mainly with the two great rulers of the Chola dynasty and the administration that was being under the guidelines by Rajaraja I and his son known as Rajendra I. First talking about Rajaraja. So he assumed the title as Rajaswari Arumula as well as Mumadi Chola under his leadership. So how he also arose to be one of the great leaders, and it has been said that he was one of the greatest as well as the bravest leaders of the Chola Empire, followed by his son known as Rajendra I. So talking about that, we see the reigning period of Rajaraja I from the year of 985 C to 1014 C. That means he ruled nearly for 29 years, and within the 29 years what kind of achievement, what kind of contribution or the effort that he led after being the king of the Chola Empire, what were the new kind of system that he also wanted to implement for making his kingdom or empire a very great or the strongest kingdom during those time. So first talking about the Polonnaruwa. So this was the main capital under the Chola, which was being made by the Rajaraja I with one of his contribution. And then we talked that what were the achievements, what kind of attack was also being done or expedition that was led by Rajaraja I, that we see mainly talking about that he also attacked Ceylon, the old name of Sri Lanka, and the northern parts of Ireland. So how he arose to be one of the brave leader, king, and under his leadership lots of conquests or lots of battles were also fought, and every time he used to get victory with the planning, with the proper training that was being given to the army as well as the weapon that was used during the time of battles. Next we focus on the destruction. So how under his leadership even he destroyed the Chera Navy, who was under one of the great leader, and it was being destroyed by him. And next focusing that he also annexed southern provinces of Chalukyas. So what kind of role one by one after attacking the northern parts of Ireland or the Ceylon, he also wanted to as well as destroy the provinces of the Chalukyas. And next talking about the encouragement. So how he also encouraged the local self-government, talking about the Panchayati Raj system, village level as well as the block level as well as the district level. So that was also being encouraged by him. Next we talk about that how he also built one of the famous temple during those time in Tanjore, in the state of Tamil Nadu, known as Rajaswari Temple. It was one of the great temple, and even it has been visited at time by many of the tourists just to take the blessings of that Lord. Next we focus on the next king known as Rajendra I. Rajendra I was also a great leader, the son of Rajaraja I, and he reigned for almost as a king nearly for 32 years, from the year of 1012 to 1044 C. So within the 32 years of his reigning period, he also made lots of achievement, at the same time the contributing part, lots of efforts, and mainly talking about the system under the administration, the military system, land revenue system, the taxation process, even that was being maintained in a very proper way, and that marked him as one of the great leader under the Chola Empire. So first we talk about the Rajendra I, that even he took the title like his father, that Gangaikonda Cholapuram. So it was a title that was being taken by him, talking about the Pandita. So even he assumed that lots of pandits during the time, like our temples and all those who visited, what kind of proper information about the gods were being preached by those kind of pandita, and even he assumed the title. Next we talk that he was also one of the good as well as great administrator, efficient ruler as well as the king, and he made the capital of Chola, Gangaikonda Cholapuram. So that was a capital that was being made by Rajendra I. And next we focus on the topic of achievements. So what kind of contribution or the achievement that he did after he rose as the next king of the Chola Empire. So first we talk under the achievements topic, that how under his leadership we talk about Tiruvalgandu copper plate grants was been formed, with lots of information about the Chola Empire, what kind of poets, who were the main scholar during those time, who were the foreign traveler, everything was been depicted with lots of information on this particular copper plate grants. And next we focus on the Tirumalai rock inscription. Even this is one of the most important rock inscription known as Tirumalai, where mostly about the Chola kingdom, for how many years it ruled, who were the main kings, what were the contributing part of their, and talking about the administration system, the military system, and mainly focusing on the subjects, the people of Chola kingdom, what kind of lifestyle, what kind of main occupation, the main agriculture was the backbone during those time also, and that all are being depicted under this Tirumalai rock inscription. Next we focus on the achievements that even he conquered the Pandyan as well as the Cheran territory. So that was also a remarkable attack that was been done by Rajendra I, and for that he is known as one of the great king under the Chola Empire. And later on we see the headquarters that was been turned into Madurai under his leadership. So these were all the achievements as well as the contribution part that Rajendra I he took after assuming titles, and the works or the efforts that he did after being the next king. The last topic for today's class, that is known as administration. So under Chola Empire or Chola kingdom, mainly we talk about the two great kings known as Rajaraja I and Rajendra I. So under both the kings also administration process were been already set up in a very well organized manner, and that we see that how it was been set up under the monarchical form of government. That means the king had overall the power to make lots of laws and orders, rules and regulations for the armies, for the subject, even for the whole officers in charge, and that became one of the most interesting figure of the administration under Chola kingdom. Next we talk about the central government, that what kind of process it was been set up. Firstly we talk about the monarch system, that king was overall the head, overall like a god for every laws and orders that was been made for every subjects, and talking about the ministerial council, that the council of ministers, there were lots of ministers, like 20 to 30 ministers, and each and every minister were been given a particular department, either for military department, land revenue department, talking about economic department. It was being distributed among all the ministers, and even they did a proper work to make the kingdom known as very high and very top kingdom. Next we talk about the administrative officials. So what kind of officers were chosen, what kind of like criteria was been given by the Chola kingdom for those kinds of officers who wanted to come under the administration process for taking as a minister for each and every department that was been led. And talking about the Perundarar as well as the Sirutaram, which mainly talks about the administration process, and last but not the least talking about the army section. So what kind of proper training, weapons, what kind of salary was been given to those kinds of armies who had to perform a very long way for all the battles, getting ready for those kinds of battles with proper techniques as well as the weapons. And finance, talking from what kind of finance would come, money matter, and last that is known as taxation system. So even the farmer during those time had to pay a taxation to the Chola Empire, but a certain kind of amount in the form of percentage wise it was been fixed for farmer as well as peasants to come and pay their taxation, and with the help of those taxation, maintaining of kingdom, development, maintaining of all the armies with their weapons, training, all it was being set up with those kinds of taxation money. So this was overall the topic for today's class, with the 7th chapter talking about the rise of the Cholas with their administration process and the two great kings of the Chola dynasty or kingdom known as Rajaraja I and Rajendra Chola. I hope you have understood for today's class. Till then, stay safe. Thank you and God bless.